The World Cup final has just finished. It's finished 4-2 to France. It's the second highest World Cup final scoreline in history, only beaten by 1958's Brazil-Sweden 5-2. It's the highest since 1970, which was Brazil-Italy, which was 4-1. It's 4-2. Brilliant. And it's the first one since 2002 not to go to extra time or penalties. Yeah. So this is a World Cup for a difference, a positive difference. More goals. Only one goalless draw. I think you'll find less penalty shootouts than in previous tournaments. Even though there were quite a few in the knockout stages, there weren't as many. Brilliant tournament all round. But we'll do a review of the tournament tomorrow. But we've got to look at what happened today. Own goal from a soft free kick. You can debate whether that's a free kick or not to death. It's happened now. It's done. I felt the first half, the Argentinian referee had a poor first half. Better second half, poor first half. But that's my personal opinion. Mandzukic, any tall centre forward's been called back to the box. His job is to head it forward, and he's got his technique all wrong, and he's put it in his own net. You can debate whether it should have been a free kick or not. The turning point comes later. Perisic's goal, also from a free kick, is a thing of beauty. It's crossed out wide by Modric. Verzalka crosses it back in. 3 headers later, it comes to Perisic on his right. He controls it with his right foot, pings it in with his left. I would say one of the goals of the tournament. There are 2 other good goals in here that belong in goal of the tournament equation. Brilliant goal. You can see why Mourinho wants him, but Mourinho may actually harm his development and help the player. Very critical of Mourinho, Maureen's tactics, but we'll move on from that. And actually, Croatia had most of the ball, 60 to 70%. Depending, if you look at each 5-minute segment, that was the possession stats in their favour, was 60 to 70% of the ball was Croatian. That says something about this World Cup. Teams with the most ball aren't winning. And I did say a team would win the final. I was hoping Croatia, but that's what I picked before the tournament. And I'm one place out. I said before the tournament, the team with about 40% counter-attacking football would win. I was right. We'll get on to the turning point. It's the VAR review and the Griezmann penalty. Perisic is alleged to have deliberately handled the ball in the box. No. It's a 50-50. I personally think the rulebook needs to say any handball is deliberate or accidental is now a penalty, because we've got to the point now where there's so many 50-50 calls or deliberate ones that are got away with and accidentals that are given that the rulebook needs to change. The VAR review as well. 3 minutes. 3-4 minutes of VAR review when 2 replays could clear that up, personally. If it has to be clear and obvious, it was not clear and it was not obvious. So, clearly, that's going to be a debating point for years to come. It will. I think that personally was the turning point, and Griezmann's penalty was well taken. He hasn't missed a penalty for France. He's taken 6 overall, 3 to the right, 3 to the left. The goalkeeper should have gone to the right. Trust me, he should have worked out. He alternates. Seriously. But great penalty. That's the second penalty after a VAR review when it's been 1-1 as well in the first half of the game. Look at the Australia game. Beginning of the tournament. Half time it is 2-1. The second half starts much the same as the first half. A lot of possession to Croatia. It's very, very even chances though. And then Pogba scores his goal, which maybe beats Perisic for goal of the game, let alone goal of the tournament. 59 minutes. 5 minutes later, Mbappe, I think, scores an even better goal on 64 minutes. And the game is done. It is done. Well, Croatia don't give up, but those 2 goals are worthy of winning any World Cup final. Perisic's goal is worthy of winning any World Cup, or any final for that matter. Those 3 goals are worthy of winning any tournament. Domestic or international, worthy. And we've seen some great ones in this World Cup. But there's 3 on show here that should be put in for goal of the tournament, and it's all subjective. Those 2 goals really dagger to the heart of Croatia. However, Hugo Lloris and the French take off Conte and bring on Nzonzi, who I think is even more defensively minded than Conte, and that was with 30 odd minutes left. And it doesn't matter that you're 4-1 up at this point. It's too early to start protecting a lead. I don't like it when teams start putting the corner and deliberately taking time to have throw-ins. You play to the whistle. I was brought up playing in any sport. You play till the official goes game over. You play until the end. And the howler, I think, comes from that overconfidence. They're 4-1 up. They're now showboating a little bit. The back pass is, I think, a bit under pace, and Lloris does a Loris Karius Champions League final and passes the ball to Mandzukic, who sticks his leg out, and well, it's the easiest goal he's going to get, and it makes up for his own goal. And Croatia didn't give up. They were still giving it a go. France had to counter-attack. It woke them up a little bit. So the last 20 minutes, there was tension and there was energy behind. The Croatians weren't giving up. They were dogged, and that's something I could say about the Croatians. They've been dogged. They haven't looked their best throughout the knockout stages, but they've been dogged, and they've stuck to their guns, and they've got through 2 penalty shootouts and 3 extra times to get to this point. That is a whole extra game of football on top of 3 other knockout games. So in the knockout stages, they played an extra game in minutes. That's insane. Plus penalty shootouts, which take time. That is complete and utter madness. That might have had an effect on their, how tired they were. All that extra time, that would have had an effect. Personally, I thought it might have had an effect in the semi-final. It might have had an effect in the quarter-final. And it's definitely caught up with them today. Imagine if they had no extra times, and they got through all those knockout stages. Would the result be the other way around? Possibly. Shows how fit this Croatian team are. Played that much extra football in a very short space of time. But the French have got the World Cup win there. You can debate whether that's the right decision, and giving that free kick for the own goal was the right decision. And those are debating points. And if the World Cup had been decided in the first half and that was the final score, that would have probably been one of the least loved World Cup wins, especially with the VAR review. If that had been the decider, that's the concern that I had, was VAR was going to have a much bigger role. I mean, yeah, that is a turning point, and it's a debating point. And it's more of a, should we change the wording of the rule to any handball being possession to the other side, free kick or penalty? I think that's what's going to have to happen, and then you won't need VAR so much. Because some people are saying there's too many penalties now. Well, to get away with that clear and obvious, just make every handball a free kick or a penalty. Then it completely neutralises a lot of VAR reviews. Then a lot, because then, or it speeds up the process. It's a handball, penalty. There is no I missed it. It's a penalty, or it's a free kick, and it speeds up the process. Because that 4 minutes, too long. I will do a review of the World Cup, and we'll go, look, why is the goal per game average up? Why is the set plays up? And why has there only been 1 goalless game? This is the highest scoring World Cup for goals per game average, and all sorts. It's the second highest scoring World Cup final. There's been less yellow and red cards. There's been a lot of own goals. A lot more penalties, obviously the VAR, but take the penalties out. Even then, goals from set pieces, you're still in the high 40%. Nearly half the goals have come from set pieces, even with penalties. You take them out, that's still 30-odd% of goals from set pieces. So that says something. Entertaining. Thank God this didn't go to penalties, because even though Italy-France went to penalties 12 years ago, there was goals in that game. But I have seen World Cup games where it's dull 0-0s. They're playing for penalties. At no point were these sides playing for penalties. Croatia were going for it. France were going for it. And it was a very entertaining final. These 2 goals, if that had stayed 2-1, I think the backlash against the VAR and FIFA and the World Cup and whatever would have been more. And the sport, thankfully, 3 more goals in the second half have made it not as important, although that is an important thing and it will be discussed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below. And yeah, the like and subscribe as well. We need a lot of them. And I'll be doing a live stream very, very shortly. See you soon.